Great. Well, thanks for having me again, Sid. It's always great to see you. For those who don't know
Likewise.
me, for those who don't know me, I'm Brendan O'Leary. I formerly at GitLab. I'm now at a company called Project Discovery. That's an open source powered security company specializing in detecting and remediating exploitable vulnerabilities at scale. And our product is based on a number of open source projects that we've had and have been around for probably 3 years now. And so one thing I was wondering about that Sid is maybe the world's expert on, but at least one of the world's experts on, is how you approach monetizing open source in the sense that we're kind of at this place where we're thinking a lot about top down, right? There's enterprises that know about us and are using our stuff and are coming to us saying, hey, we want to work together, we want to an enterprise product, and these are kind of our requirements. And then there's also a lot of practitioners that use our software, right? It's a CLI tool for security scanning, and so that's used by security practitioners on the ground. And we're kind of in this world of like, what's the way to look at it? Is it grounds up and get people using it, and then start talking to buyers, or is it talk to buyers and then start building what they want? And and so I was interested in your thoughts because I know you have a lot of opinions here, Sid.
Yeah, I think the enterprises who use it and who come with requirements are great. And you should just kind of embrace that and go from that. I think in the beginning, you don't have a ton of enterprise features. So it's tougher to go to a company and kind of actively sell it just because like they're going to be wanting the same enterprise features and you don't have them. So like, then it's just, they're going to be like, pass, like, I'm just going to use something. There's enough alternative offerings. So they're just going to pass on you. What you also want to avoid is enterprises who are excited about the project, but are not using it yet. Frequently, those are like people you approach and they're like, oh yeah, we really love it. If only it had X, Y, Z. Many times they just want to be polite and it's not a real requirement. They just want to get you off their back. Or maybe it is they genuinely think they need that, but if they would use your product, they had much different priorities. So I think the fact that you have some enterprises who use it and who come with requirements, just fully embrace that. And that will probably keep your R&D team busy for many, many years.
Yeah, I believe that. And I think, and again, I think we have this middle ground that I'm interested in asking you about, which is, practitioners at enterprises that are using it, right? And may or may not be the ones with those specific requirements. Definitely are not the ones that are going to be signing a check, right? That's going to be their boss or their boss's boss. And so the thing we've run into recently, which I remember running into in my life before, in early GitLab days, and I'm interested in your thoughts on, is like how to help those folks who are bought into your tooling, right? The ones that are using it, how to help them communicate the value to their boss or their boss's boss in a way that translates, right? That kind of speaks to them. Again, this is, I think, a common struggle in open core, companies that are trying to build on top of open source.
Yes. You call them practitioners. I commonly call them ICs, individual contributors. And kind of the buyer-based open core model says you make the features that they want open source, you make the features that executives want or the managers want, you make them proprietary. And ideally, if you're in touch with them, you're able to send them like a PDF they can send to their boss and say, hey, look at this 2-pager. Can we please buy this stuff? Because I need the stuff that's on there. Mm-hmm. But the stuff that's on there should be stuff that resonates with the executive. It should be stuff that allows the executive to keep their job. So like proving compliance or proving you did a complete scan of the company or whatever it is for in your case. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you don't have a ton of those enterprise features yet. So if you'd have to choose, I'd say pick just embracing the enterprise buyers who already come to you, who are already using it and are coming with requirements, build that and then put those things in the PDF.
Yeah. 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 I think that's kind of the cycle we're in right now. I think you hit the nail on the head about like where we are in our life cycle. Because we've started to write, like we wrote a white paper. But I do think it like needs to be iterated on through that cycle. That is exactly what you were saying, which is those early adopters who do get it, building more of what they want, and then expressing that and being able to articulate that back to the market. That makes a lot of sense. And then the third thing that we run into, which again will not surprise you, but I'm interested to get your thoughts on, is we have had a couple folks who are really interested, very bought in, really, love the tooling, have worked with us even through some requirements. Now, could we deliver faster to them? Probably. But I think generally we've had a few folks that are like, well, but the open source does, most of this. So why would I don't need this product yet. Come back to me when it's got more. What are your thoughts on that and how to either position for that or, what to learn from that?
Yeah, well, they're probably speaking the truth. Like you don't have features that appeal to them yet. So make those features. See if you can do the support subscription. Like maybe you're talking with them, like maybe you can help them in certain aspects and they have a support need. And then never sell your support separately from your product. Always bundle the two. Because if they have a support need after a year, they will have asked all their questions and they'll drop it. So you want them to start using the proprietary product, benefit from the features so that it makes sense to keep paying for it. I think if I go to the website of Project Discovery, I think we also kind of see that on first blush, it's very unclear what I'm paying for. On most websites, the most visited page next, apart from the homepage, is the pricing page. You don't even have a pricing page. Like Correct. It's very unclear to me what I'm paying for. Now I know this company, and I think what I'm paying for is all these things. Kind of, I can only get the cloud platform if I. That's always a paid thing. I would make it more on the nose and have a pricing page. Open source. It's also like these are kind of your products too. I think if you have a product which is a cloud platform and these other products, and those tend to be open source, and this one is closed source, that's okay, but I don't know. You don't typically find an open source menu item. It's a bit, I get it, but it's a bit confusing. I would have a products one that includes the cloud platform and get rid of the open source one and have a pricing one there. Like, what am I paying for?
Makes sense. That makes sense.
And there's some companies, that's not you, but there's some companies who just try to charge for the running it as a service. And I think that typically doesn't work. You need kind of to also be selling proprietary features. Now, in your case, you have proprietary features, but they're unique to the service. I think it makes sense, but it's a complex story to explain. So I think it's very valid that they're asking, what am I paying for? And I think you should do a better job of it. I think a pricing page might help with that. Yeah. Like, this is what you gain by becoming a customer.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. That's helpful. Yeah, that you also hit a nail on the head on a discussion that we've been having, because you see a lot of products versus solutions, right? That's oftentimes a more common delineation. Because to your point, like the open source tools are in some ways products, right? They are. and then another product, the product we sell is the cloud platform. So that's really helpful feedback.
Yeah, I think one of your products is the cloud platform, everything that's now listed under open source. And then you should consider also having a solutions menu item. And basically everything under that should be the names of the Gartner categories you compete in. It's like automatic asset discovery or whatever, you know what categories you're in. Basically, just list those.
That makes sense. Okay, this is really helpful. I'm trying to think. What do you think that I haven't brought up in this kind of, we're talking about open source go-to-market basically, or open core go-to-market. What are the questions I'm not asking, or the things that I should be worried about that you think I'm not worried enough about?
I don't know. I'm a bit stuck in my ways, and I really like the open core model. And I wonder, and I really like the buyer-based open core model. So I wonder, like, why the cloud platform is 100%, that's 100% proprietary, but all the individual tools are 100% open source. And you run the risk that you have a very clean technical split, but that it's not based on kind of the buyer-based open core model, which I think works really well. And I recently wrote an article about that less than a month ago, that the open core split should be based on features, not on code base. And I think you should question internally whether you've done this split of cloud platform proprietary tools, open source, whether you did that because it was a very clean technical split. And if so, I would maybe challenge that and question that. I would do something messy, but more practical.
And do you think that makes sense? The question I have is, do you think that means that what we have as our open source code bases today might need to have proprietary features in it? Or do you think it means that our cloud should be source available or open source? Or is it both? I mean, like, I think obviously, again, you can't make the decision for us, but I'm just interested in
my position would be both. I think you're gonna, and you could see different things. Like, it might be that the upgrade path, I think the upgrade graph right now is very hard. I'm using these CLI tools right now. And you say, well, use our awesome cloud thing, but like, that's a big jump for me to start using that. So it's a hard argument to me. Why should I start paying you? It's like, well, there's other thing that you're totally unfamiliar with, but I promise it's really great. That's not very compelling. If you would follow kind of the buyer-based open core model, you could say, well, if you're using Nuclei, there's this one feature Nuclei who's really nifty, which is more of a focus for executives, but like, that's a much easier case internally to make a case for. Like, using Nuclei is everywhere. We need this extra feature. And the feature is, I don't know, for a vulnerability, you can see whether your code base touches it or something like that, whether it's even or whatever is relevant for Nuclei. That's an easier thing to send a PDF to my boss to. Like, hey, we're using Nuclei, we need this cool feature, please pay. The other effect you'd have is that a lot more people would be running your cloud. You should stop calling it cloud service. You should start using your integrated service or your platform or whatever. You'd start running that platform, maybe even internally. Maybe you have a freemium offering on the SaaS one where you can use the open source features. And I think that benefits you in two ways. It's like a smaller step to upgrade. Like, you're using the platform, but you need more than 15 team members, or you need LDAP group synchronization, or some easier upgrade step. Like, hey, we're using it with 50 people and now it's getting messy and we need to pay. And you benefit from source available. Like if they find a bug there, they will help you improve it. So your innovation cycle should speed up.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a pivot that we haven't we haven't fully announced, but is happening, which is
You heard it here first, people.
which is that we are going to, and I'm interested in your take on it, because it's not, I wouldn't call it pure since the Brandy buyer-based open core, but it's walking down this road. So that's why I want to talk to you about it. Which is more of a freemium type model, and not freemium for the sake of being freemium, but because we think there are some features with the platform that folks can benefit from, our community can benefit from. And honestly, when we first started down the road of enterprise, we kind of went the other direction. We were like, okay, let's build an enterprise product from the top down. And we quickly found that was moving us away. Like it wasn't connected to the rest of what we do. It wasn't connected with our community. And so we've kind of flipped the script, and we'll soon hopefully be coming out with, look, here's something that everyone can use. They can connect the CLI to it. It connects to the workflow you're doing today with Nuclei. It allows you to see, visualize, let's say, some of your results in a way that's valuable, because today it's just, text based on the CLI. And then from that and from usage of that, find folks that could, like you said, need enterprise features, whether that's, let's be real, like LDAP, directly sync, is probably going to be one of those things. Like, as painful as the SSO tax is, that's probably one of the pieces. Hopefully there'll be a lot of other pieces, reporting that management will care about, integration with the engineering team that, again, maybe the individual practitioner that's just doing bug bounty hunting or some sort of other thing doesn't care about, but an enterprise would. So yeah, again, while that's not pure buyer-based open core, I think it's an interesting thing that we've learned as we're doing this, which is a lesson you probably could have said, yeah, I could have told you that, Brendan, 6 months ago. But yeah, I'm interested, it doesn't get you all the way there, but does that start to walk down the path that you think is the one you're, yeah. Because I do think, and it's interesting, I kind of, when I first came in, was like, yeah, we've got to build some enterprise once, which of course is going to be true in order to build a sustainable business. But I'm a lot more excited as the head of community and as, being part of our community now, that we can build something that's a little bit more connected to the experience, right? And so, yeah, that's kind of the road we're walking down right now.
Cool. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks, Sid. It's great to see you. I really appreciate it. You'll have at least 5 or 6 viewers of this video